Hello my dear students, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video we are going to learn a class 9 English chapter on saying please, which is written by Alfred George Gardiner. And this is part 2 of this chapter. Part 1 has been earlier uploaded in my channel, and the description and the link of the same will be shared in the description box for your convenience. So let's move ahead with the chapter. But before that, students, if you're viewing my video for the first time, do subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you get the notifications of all the upcoming videos. To watch the video till end, and if you like it, hit the like button and share with your friends. So students, here we'll see about the author first, Alfred George Gardiner, who is the author of this chapter. He was born in 1865 and he died in 1946. He was a British journalist and an author, and he is famous for his essays, which he used to write under the pen name of Alpha of the Plough. And it was highly regarded, it was very famous. He was also the chairman of National Anti-Sweating League, a pressure group which was campaigned for minimum wage industry. So he was also fighting for the social cause for the industry workers like this. So we had already seen this, but it was just a revision again about the author. So let's go on to the chapter. So we had seen that in his essay on saying please, he mentions about a incident where a liftman was kicked out of the job because he had kicked out a passenger from the lift as he wanted, as he demanded to say please, wanted to hear the word please and uh, to be polite. He wanted the passenger to be polite with him. So because he did not say the word please, the polite words, everything happened, and that is how we saw the story. So on that, the author gave the comments and various tips, and he discussed many things about how to be polite and what are the rules and laws in the society about being polite and using kind words. So here he shares his experience about meeting a conductor, a bus conductor who is always considered by the people as a very angry and a high tone person, or one who always speaks very in a loud voice, or is very, you can say, strict person. But here he says that he had a particularly different kind of experience with the conductor, so he wanted to share that incident with us. So let us see what kind of conductor and what was the experience that he had experienced here. So he said it is not therefore with any feeling of unfriendliness. He says that I'm not unfriendly with any other conductor or this class of people, or I'm having particularly any soft corner for this particular person. It is just that I became conscious one day about this existence. Like he happened to experience something very good through this conductor one day, and that is why he is sharing that. He says that when I jumped onto a bus, he found that he had left home without any money. The author says that when he was once going through the bus, and he wanted to just go to his destination, he just checked out that he had no money left in his pocket. He had come empty pocket from the house, and now he did not have even bus fare to give. So everyone has had experienced this, and no, we know that every one of us, at some or the other point, we have gone through such kind of things where we just leave the important thing in the house itself, and we come out, and it's so difficult for us to make a forward journey or move ahead, anything it might be. So that time we have a very embarrassing moment. So here he says the mixed feeling was there, and I was so annoyed because you look like a fool at the best, because it's such a worst feeling that you have, and you're surprised that conductor is standing in front of you asking for the money for a ticket, and you say that you don't have any money and sort of thing. It's such an embarrassing moment. So he says that I was so coldly, I was standing like he was so ashamed. And yes, I know that stale old trick, now then off you get. He thought, now what is going to happen? What will be the situation on me? What is this person going to say me? He's just going to shout at me that you stale old trick, just get out of the bus. This is what we hear, and we have the look about the conductor, what they do. But here, and even if the conductor is a good fellow and lets you down easily, you are faced with the necessity of going back and the inconvenience perhaps of missing your train or your engagement. So the author says either you will get a conductor who is very rude to you, he'll just shout at you and abuse you and let you tell you to get down out of the bus. Or if the conductor is good fellow, he'll just let you to get down easily. But even then, it will not be so easy because you need to go home and you don't have money to reach the home, and then perhaps you'll be missing your train and your important appointments, and there will be so many problems there. So he says that, but here, what happened with him was he searched his pockets here and there, but it was in vain, waste. Nothing was found. He said, I did not get even a penny. I had come out of the house penniless. Then he says, I told the conductor with an honest face, as I could assume that I couldn't pay the fare and I must go back home and I should get the money. He just honestly said to the conductor because he was not having the money. So he said, I'll go back home and I'll get the money and then I'll travel. So the conductor replied, oh, you need not get off. That's all right. All right. Then the author was surprised. Is it all right? But I haven't any copper or any money or coin with me. How do I go to the tickets? How do I take the ticket? So the conductor says, okay, I'll book a ticket for you. Where do you want to go? Just let me know. And he just took out the ticket machine which he was having, and as if he's going to give him a ticket from that place to Hong Kong, like uh, anywhere from that place, wherever he wants to go, he'll just provide him with the ticket. And he said that it was very kind of that person. He said, and he just wanted wherever he wanted to go. He said the destination, and he got the ticket from the conductor. So now author was also kind person. He just asked, where shall I send the fare? Because once I reach home, I'll send you the fare. So the conductor again replied, oh, you'll see me someday, all right, he said cheerfully. Like he'll be meeting him again any time in the bus. At that time, you can just return it to me. And he just was so kind and so polite. Then, luckily, my finger, still wandering in the corner of my pockets, lighted a shilling and an account was squared. So the author said, by till that time, I was just having my hands in my pockets searching for the coins and the money. And he said it happened that in the corner of my pocket, I got a shilling, and the account was squared. Means he got so much amount in his pocket, which through which he could get a ticket. So he just gave it to the conductor. But he said the pleasure did not lessen. The kind of pleasure and the glow he was having in his face after seeing such a good natured man and his action which he got to him, he said it did not lessen me. Though I gave the money, I was so happy throughout. Then he says, after a few days, my most sensitive toe was trampled. Then the days passed, and again he was traveling once in the bus, and he saw that his foot was just stamped by somebody, heavy person, and it was on the top of the bus when he was traveling, and he was very angry. The author became angry because, and in much pain, he saw towards the person who has stamped his leg, who has trampled his leg, and he saw that it was his friend, and he was very cheerful in nature. And he is saying, sorry, sir, I know these are heavy boats. Like he started apologizing, and he's just saying that he also started making him comfortable that you did not get hurt. I hope I know these are very heavy boots of mine. I got them because my feet get trod every year now and then, and now after taking this kind of boats, I'm trodding the people's feet, and I hope that I have not hurt you. So in a polite manner, he questioned the author. So the author says, yeah, it had hurt me, but because he was so nice, I assured him that no, I did not get any hurt. Right, students, it happens with us also. If somebody is good to us, even if unknowingly they do something wrong to us or they hurt us, we just tend that we were not hurted by that act because they did unwillingly, and they are so good by nature. So that is what happening here. And then after this, the author said, I started observing him, his each and every act of kindness which he used to do. Every time he got in the bus, he used to see how he's behaving, what kind of nature he's having, and it was giving him a curious pleasure to see him do such a good things with everyone, all human beings, not only the author, but any person who used to come in the bus. He used to be so kind, and he said that he noticed so many things which he was doing. Like once he saw that if it's raining, he used to give the tip to some other people who are at the top floor, that there's room inside, there's space, they can come and get down in the bus. And if they are old people, they consider themselves as like as if he is a son, he behaved so politely. And if the children used to get into his bus, he used to behave as a loving father there. Like that kind of careness and warmth he used to provide to the people who used to come in the bus. And even with the young youth, he was so good that he used to just merrily jest with them. Means that he used to mingle with them and have a nice talk with them. And if there was some physically handicapped or blind person, he himself used to go down and see that they are safely crossing the road or going to their path, and then he used to come and tell the bill to move away with the bus. So this is a kind of environment he used to create in the bus, and the atmosphere there was such good that they had a very good journey in that bus. And this was a very nice thing that the author has seen here. And he says that I have learned a lesson in natural courtesy and good manners. This conductor has set a very best example of this. And then he says that what struck me particularly was the ease with which he got to his work. Like even being such a difficult work or tedious work, hard work, he was taking with such ease and with all the good manners and kind and polite words, he used to do his work. So then even the bad manners are infectious. If you get once the bad manners into bad habit, it becomes infectious. You tend to do again and again. So the author is saying, in the same manner, similar manner, even good manners are also infectious. Once you have an encounter with the good people, you tend to see, and you don't agree with the other people. Then you always expect the good manners and the people with good spirits, and you want to just have a good fine day with them. Okay, so he says that even with the fine manners, even with a one small smile, you can make a whole day the gloomiest day in the very fine day. Like a sad day will turn into a good day if you just behave politely. So it was always fine weather on the polite conductor's bus. So the environment in the whole bus was very polite because of that conductor, and that is what it made a good environment there. And in lightening their spirits, he lighted his own task. His gaiety was not a wasteful luxury, but a sound investment. Like whatever hard work he used to do in his job, or whatever kindness he used to show to the people, it was not to waste, but it was a sound investment. Like he would get back that in one or the other form. Then he says it's not a matter of general agreement that the war has had. Like as we have war and then the people have the bad behaviors, it's just that you have to sweeten the air, you have to bring the good environment from within, you have to tolerate each other. Even the war has ended, now you have to be very tolerable to each other, and we cannot get them back by invoking the law. Any law cannot get us back that polite manners and kindness and that happiness. So we have to do that from ourselves. And the policeman is a necessary symbol, and the law is necessary institution for the society. But the law can only protect us against material attack. Of course, we cannot expect any emotional or some other security from the law. It can just protect us from material attack. What is seen if somebody is attacking you physically, at that time the law can protect us, but not each and every time for your moral support, for your emotional support. It cannot make any law or help you. So nor will the liftman's way of meeting moral affront with physical violence help us to restore the civilities. I suggest him that he would have had more subtle and effective revenge. Like here, the other is at the side of the liftman. He said that more effective revenge he would have taken from that gentleman who will not say please with him, with elaborate politeness, but with elaborate politeness he would have said. Then at last he says that he would have the victory not only on the board but over himself, and that is the victory that counts. He would have been the winner in that conversation. The liftman would be the winner. If the man may lose the material advantage, but he always has the spiritual victory. Maybe he does not he lost his job, but he has that spiritual victory in within him, that he taught him a lesson of being polite, of how to be a polite person, how to be speak kindly and very nicely to the people. And then I comment to the liftman a story of Chesterfield. So here he again relates one story to the liftman about the Chesterfield, where they did not had any pavements or footpaths in the London streets, and the man who took the wall had the driest footing, like the who walked through the wall was on the wall. Small wall had the driest footing, and there I never give the wall to a scoundrel, said a man once who met a Chesterfield. So he said that I always do, I always provide that. And then he stepped towards the bow or the road. He just moved towards the road. And I hope the liftman will agree that this revenge was much more sweet than if he had flung the fellow into the mud. Like he should have flung that fellow into the mud. This would be the better revenge that he would have taken from that person. So like this, even the author is commending himself that we have to take up the stand for the polite and behaving kindly towards the people. There is no such laws which will come and guide us or correct us or give us the you can say justice over there. So it should be from within, and we have to teach and learn among ourselves. So this is how the chapter gets over, students. I hope you all understood it. It was interesting and informative. If you like the video, do hit the like button and subscribe my channel. Do share with your friends. We'll be back soon with more such videos. Till then, take care. Thank you.